Hello and welcome to the 2025 JSRA season.
What a race this has been. But there is Dominic Charles now sitting in the slipstream of the Australian, maybe trying to see if he can force a mistake.
Oh, what a move by Moss on the outside of Jaden Harrison.
Hold them Kimani as the fans are out and about. John just closing out the gap to the Trinidadian.
3, 2, 1, go. Fast, sharp right. Fast, sharp right. Sharp right. Sharp right. Listen. 7.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to round 4 of our Caribbean Touring Car Championship, the 2025 season here at Tour number 2. Coming to you from the legendary Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit in Kent, England. This 3.9 kilometer circuit is narrow, unforgiving and packed with character. With just 9 corners, it may look simple on paper, but behind the wheel, one of the most demanding tracks on the calendar. We kick things off with Paddock Hill Bend, a terrifyingly fast right-hander that drops steeply downhill on corner entry. It's blind, it's off camber, and it catches out even the best of our racers. Then it's a short sprint up the Druids, the hairpin at the top of the hill. Expect bold overtakes there, maybe a few elbows out through there. From there, it's all about rhythm and bravery. Surtees, Pilgrim's Drop, the high-speed blast through Hawthorne, Westfield, and the infamous Shield Curve, a corner that demands pure commitment. This place is steeped in touring car heritage from BTCC finales. The DTM visits Brands Hatch as a gladiator arena for the tin top racing, and tonight's Caribbean Touring Car round is absolutely no different. This title fight is heating up. The championship standings are tighter than ever, and every single point matters as we close in on the second half of the season. We have some drivers gaining. Estefano did not have the best round 1, but has found himself quickly up the ranks in the top 3 now between himself, Dominic Charles, Jaden Harrison, and Rohir Robinson. So buckle up because we are moments away from lights out at one of the most iconic circuits in motorsports history. This is Caribbean Touring Car at Brands Hatch, and anything can happen. We started at the Thruxton. Round 2 was at Donington Park. Round 3 was our 1-hour endurance special event at Spa-Francorchamps. This week, again, we visit Brands Hatch. Just a quick update for this week. The ballasts are as followed, as Jaden Harrison leads the majority vote here after winning race 2, round 2 at Donington Park in the second race of the season. So he does start with 50 kilograms as I get the stream up and about. He does lead the kilograms this week with 50 kilograms, followed by Noble Racing Team 1 driver Estefano Barrera, followed by Dominic Charles with 40 kilograms, Roger Keller with 35 kilograms, Kadim Mohammed with 30, Daniel Velez with 25, Christian Gomez with 20, Rohir Robinson with 15, John Singleton with 10, Michael Thompson with 5 kilograms. We have about 10 minutes until qualifying. Excited to see what can happen this evening with the racers as they prepare to go racing in only a moment's time. Ladies and gentlemen, with 5 minutes remaining, about 6 minutes remaining, my apologies. The qualifying session will begin with the drivers just putting in those final few laps to get racing here. Running into a few issues there with the broadcast camera. It seems as if it's overloading the GPU, maybe a glitch, one of the softwares. I think it might be the track map that we're running right now. Causing a little bit of jittering, so we may end up just using that minicam for the majority of this race. Look back to your feedback as we go qualifying. We get the 5-minute warning there. 5 minutes to go. Jaden Harrison at the moment topping the timing sheet. This is going to be fun. He does lead with 50 kilograms of ballast and looking very rapid already. 132.560 is his time. On his last lap, 132.139 is his fastest of the evening. 132.073 is actually the fastest. My apologies. Done by Riley Curtis. Drivers definitely pushing to see where they can gain that advantage here this evening. We do have a split qualifying coming up. We have the bronze class starting the session, followed by the silver class. So the first 11 minutes will be for, well, first 10 minutes, my apologies. The first minute to line up for the bronze class drivers. The next The next 10 minutes after that will be for the bronze class drivers to put in their fastest lap for the evening to see where they will be starting for this evening's race. Once the 10-minute mark goes, then the silver class drivers will be heading out for their runs. Looking forward to seeing what they can bring out this evening. Last time we had some mixtures between the bronze and the silver class drivers. Please be reminded that it's not due to your skill level, it's due to your progression. Seeing Sean Falloon there going a little bit drifty in that Subaru. That car is rear-wheel drive, not the typical all-wheel drive that you'd be used to. So Sean Falloon there trying his best to keep that car on the track. We're riding on board right now with Team JSRA driver Mr. Rohir Robinson, who has done an amazing job this season. Looks very rapid. He and his teammate Jaden Harrison fighting with the likes of Dominic Charles and Nova Racing. Definitely looking forward to seeing what these drivers can bring to the mix in the next few moments. Quick look at the safety car for this evening, brought to you by Ceramic Hair, our league sponsor for this series. Definitely a huge shout out to them as always for what they've been doing for us here at the JSRA. Spend a little time and give them a little bit of a shout out there. Mr. Foley here, who races for AC Karting. AC Karting team number 2. Again, huge shout out to them as well, as you see the likes of, I believe that's Rohir Robinson in the rear view. Very rapid here. A minute and a half remaining. Qualifying begins. That's where the beginning of this evening's drama will begin. Ladies and gentlemen, definitely looking forward to seeing what can come here Just a huge reminder, drive of the day voting is out. Leave, using as much of that draft as possible is Mr. Folly. And awesome shout outs to Mr. Henry Leroy down there in that Ford. Looking forward to seeing what can be done. Remember, leave the name of your drive of the day so they can be featured in our social media for a chance to win their own sim racing gloves, courtesy of 7 Mile Racing out in Cayman Islands. Our good friends who will be representing in their own team for the Le Mans Ultimate Series that we have going on every Saturday. Started last week, we continue next week. As a matter of fact, we continue tomorrow at the Imola circuit, the Emilia Romagna. Trying to keep up with Formula One as the racing is going and going and going. Ladies and gentlemen, we go qualifying in only a few minutes. Go Dominic, Charles, Justina, as always, happy to see you. Looking forward to seeing what can be done here this evening as these drivers are preparing for a battle to come.
Hello and welcome to the 2025 JSRA season.
What a race this has been. But there is Dominic Charles now sitting in the slipstream of the Australian, maybe trying to see if he can force a mistake.
Oh, what a move by Moss on the outside of Jaden Harrison.
Hold them Kimani as the fans are out and about. John just closing off the gap to the Trinidadian.
2, 1, go. Fast, sharp right. Fast, sharp right. Sharp right. Sharp right. Listen. 7.
And ladies and gentlemen, qualifying will begin in a moment's time as the drivers prepare for their session to go. Just give me a brief moment to get these drivers ready and awaiting as we kick off the qualifying session for this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, we are officially go time for qualifying here this evening. Seeing a little bit of frame drops there, my most sincerest apologies. It's just happening at the most random times, but we'll continue to watch. See what happens there, but this time it seems as if it's smoothened out a little bit. Right now for the bronze class, we have Kadim Mohammed, we have Sashan Falloon, we have Cooper Folly, Fernando Gonzalez, Francisco Javier Salazar, Leroy Henry, and Tizwanto Aji representing in the bronze class. So looking forward to seeing what can come as we ride along board now with the AC karting driver in Cooper Folly. Rapid driver, we've seen him in the past. This is his second race of the series. Seeing Tizwanta there as well. Should be out, but not out as yet for his qualifying session. So right along board to see what happens in the next few moments. Right along board now with Javier. Looked very good for last week's race, so looking forward to seeing what he can bring. The first 2 minutes of qualifying sets himself a little bit of space. As Cooper is the first driver around. We ride along board with him as he is the first driver. I'll keep you guys updated with the live timing as we go on and on. My sincerest apologies again for any frame drops. It was good all day and then all of a sudden now there's a little bit of lagging from time to time, but we'll hope that it will stay consistent and clean through this race. But right now AC karting driver will be the first to go around. Right now not setting the lap ablaze. As we say, as a matter of fact, Mr. Park, Deville Park there sitting in P14 sets the fastest sector 1 so far, but we watch them as they go along. Kadim Mohammed is a driver to watch for. He started P3 last week from the bronze class, but in the silver class overall, so he's one of those that you want to definitely pay attention to. Javier right behind Mr. Folly right here. So he enters into the final chicane, heading down now to the penultimate corner. Right here you want to use as much trail braking, get car out as wide as possible, head back on the inside, drift back out, heading into turn 1. And the first lap of this evening, 133.691. Javier right behind. Had the purple sector 1, 132.645. Kadim Mohammed is the next one behind. And he will set 132.8. Leroy Henry as well sits in P5 with a 134.834. So Sean Falloon does go up to take away from Gonzalez. Fernando Gonzalez, seen the Ville part there in the pits. This is Wantage as well. The pits. Those are 2 bronze class drivers. Should be out, but not out for the moment. So right now, Kadim Mohammed sits in P2, followed by Javier Salazar, who is setting a green sector 1, so he is improving. But still not his fastest lap. Sector 2 was not that ideal, but guess what, ladies and gentlemen, Kadim Mohammed right behind has set a purple sector 2, so he's looking rapid. Yellow sector 2 for Javier as he chases down Cooper Fall there in the forefront. Purple sector 1, purple sector 2 for Kadim Mohammed. We'll ride along board with him right now as he comes around. Penultimate corner here. Purple sector 1, purple sector 2 comes around for that final stretch. And where will this put him? 132.8 was his best time. 132.196 to take provisional pole for the bronze class with 5 minutes remaining. And he himself is looking very rapid here this evening in that Toyota Corolla. Javier Salazar sits in P2. Just a reminder, the back to pits button is disabled, so drivers cannot head back to pits. They have to put enough fuel for the entire session, the entire 10-minute session, or if they do press the back to pits button, they will be disqualified. So right now is where strategy comes into play. Kadeem Mohammed, maybe this being his cool down lap to go for. He should have one more lap or two after this one, so definitely see what he can bring. But Cooper Folly has set a purple sector 2 and did improve in sector 1. So 132.196 is provisional pole right now. Not necessarily looking rapid in sector 3, but can he improve to at least P2? Cooper Folly there hunting as he enters into the final corner. He looked rapid in sector 1, looked rapid in sector 2. Where does this lap put him? As he crosses the finish line, moves up to P2 with a 132.335, 2/10 off, 2/10 ahead of Mr. Salazar there from Colombia. Javier has some work to do now. They have about 2 laps remaining in this qualifying session for these drivers. Right now, Leroy Henry sits in P4 with a 133.542, so roughly about 9/10 off of P3, so still has some work to do, but clear of the 2 behind him in Sashawn Falloon and Fernando Gonzalez, who each are in the 38s and the 39, so they definitely have some work to do. Fernando has been improving. Let's put him up any further. No, it does not. Looks like he may have invalidated that lap. But right now, Kadeem Mohammed, a 10th off of his personal best and the fastest lap. Nobody looking like they're improving at the moment. So right now, the Bajan in Kadeem Mohammed leads from the Australian Karto, from AC Karting in Cooper Folly. Javier Salazar in P3 hunts down. He's been one to leave a very fast lap in the dying moments. So looking forward to seeing what he can bring here this evening as we enter into the 2-minute warning for the bronze class. The silver class will begin in... and there goes Javier. Looks like he's calling it quits. And that is his qualifying session done. Cooper Folly still pushing to see where he can go. Kadeem Mohammed, this will be his final lap. He can possibly get one more after this if he has enough fuel. Still not necessarily improving so far, so at this point this looks like it could be the end of qualifying for these drivers right now. Kadeem Mohammed running, but this does not look like it's gonna be faster lap, but already sits on provisional pole. Cooper Folly now as well, still hunting down, looking like he's gaining some pace in sector 2. Seen some purple stripes there in the top right corner of your screen. So definitely purple sector 2 there with a 25.218 for Cooper Folly. Uses up as much of the track grip as possible. Sector 3 still not looking good enough, but still it's not over yet. Slight improvements here as he comes around the penultimate chicane. Heads down now to the final corner. 132.196 is the time to beat. And as it stands, it does not look like he's going to be improving to take that top step, but still should be improving on his time by even a slight 10th. No, he does not, and that is his qualifying session done. And ladies and gentlemen, right now it is now time for the silver class to get going. As you see, Kadeem Mohammed there goes around the final. So 10 seconds until qualifying starts. Rohe Robinson right behind. I believe that's either Estefano. Yes, it is Estefano Barrero. And there they go. Silver class drivers are now out and about. Daniel Velez, his teammate, a few cars behind. That's Jaden Harrison, Dominic Charles, and Rohey Robinson right in front of Daniel Velez. And this is going to be the silver class qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready. The fastest time for this evening is a 132.196. As we look forward to seeing what these drivers can do in the next few moments. Right along board with Estefano Barrera, who has been one of the top qualifiers for the season. Looking forward to seeing what he can bring here this evening. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we're having some technical issues. We're getting some frame drops when we use the broadcast camera, so we will be using the inside camera for today as well as that mini screen. We hope it works out well for you guys. Reading over the chats now. Yes, absolutely. We'd love to have more persons in the racing. All you have to do is join us on our Discord. Follow the rules. We have spaces available. So if you're interested, just send us a message at JSRA Official on our Instagram channel. We can send you all of the information to get you in on the action. These fights are rapid and very, very, very epic, to say the least. We've seen quite some battles here in the few weeks that have passed. In the first 3 rounds, Estefan pushing in sector 1, not setting a lap ablaze as yet, but we'll ride along board with him as he's the first driver to start the flying lap for the silver class drivers. You're seeing a train of drivers right behind him. As Tizwanto Aji should not be on the track at the moment, so did notice him. Hopefully he does not go back on, but right now we'll continue to ride along board with Estefano Barrero. Again, not setting the fastest lap so far. But this is his first lap, so just getting those tires on the optimal temperature. The silver class drivers pushing 133.11 for Mr. Estefano Barrero. Here Robinson quickly takes P3, P4, my apologies, as Jaden Harrison takes pole position, seeing a huge lock up there, 132.121. Jaden has 50 kilograms of ballast here this evening, ladies and gentlemen, so this is going to be fun to watch because he's already showing some pace here as his time sits on provisional pole. We ride along board with Mr. Rohey Robinson, who is now in P4, but still he's shown that he has pace. He's now 200th off of the pole sitter in Jaden Harrison. Improves on his personal best, so he's one that we should be looking forward to seeing what he can do in the next few moments, because he himself has had some torrid qualifying sessions in the past, and hopefully he will get a good lap here this evening. 2/10 off in sector 2, so still the fastest lap so far. Daniel Velez as well, he is improving, and as I go on his screen, he is now having his issues. They're going off track. And love to see the voting out for your drivers. Seeing some shout outs to Leroy Henry, seeing some shout outs for Daniel Velez, Fernando Gonzalez, and even Raven Plummer. Looking forward to seeing what this race can do here this evening. This qualifying is getting more and more intense as Dominic Charles takes pole position, 131.984, first driver in the 31 so far. My apologies for that brief intermission. I had to deal with some stuff with some of the drivers. But right now improves in sector 2 and is pushing, trying to use as much of the track there as possible. Sitting right there, I believe that's behind Mr. Jaden Harrison, Rohey Robinson, my apologies. And there goes a little bit drifted. So this lap, let's count it out for now. Rohey Robinson now sits in P6. Still needs to improve. Improves in sector 2. Pushes in the final corner. It's going to be his 32.499. Does not improve. Estefano Barrera as well needs to improve. Nova Racing driver 7 and 10 right now. Sits right in front of his bronze class Team 2 racer in Javier Salazar is Daniel Velez, but Riley Curtis puts it in P1 right now. Provisional pole, 3 minutes remaining. And this would be his best starting position. Has had some very good instances in the past. As you see him there drifting a little bit there, but this lap, let's just count it out for him for now. But right now, he is the fastest racer on track. But Dominic Charles, purple sector 1, looking very rapid. Raven Plummer sits in P7, had a purple sector 2. But her sector 1 was where she lost out most of the time. Radio silence, guys, radio silence. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. There, some drivers are talking in the middle of the qualifying session when that is not allowed. But that being said, Dominic Charles here looked rapid in sector 1. Still pushing. And the distractions are keeping us out. But right now, Dominic with 40 kilograms of ballast here pushes around the final corner. 132.191 does not improve. Jaden Harrison, again, it looks like his qualifying session is over as he heads back to the pits. 2 minutes to go. And right now we have 4 silver class drivers in the top 4. And then Kadim Mohammed and Mr. Foley there. Raven Plummer moves up to P7. The fight now is between P7, P8, P9. This is looking like a very interesting qualifying session as the drivers are pushing still. Riley Curtis right now looking quite confident in these stages. Rohey Robinson still one of the lead drivers with the least amount of ballast. And if I am being honest, this is one of his preferred tracks as well. So this is a surprise for us here. His best time being a 132.128. Still has some work to do there in Mr. Rohey Robinson. And that looks like he is saving some gas as he pulls along the side. Dominic Charles passes him. And I believe that's either Daniel Velez or Estefano Barrera. Yep, the two Nova Racing drivers right behind each other. Rohey Robinson leaving it. Either he ran out of gas or he's leaving it for the last minute to start his final flying lap. There goes Daniel Velez up into P6. Estefano Barrera in P7. This is going to be the fun part now. But as we speak of this, Riley Curtis does extend his lead, 131.546. Estefano Barrera pulls off to the side, but right now setting that lap ablaze in his best qualifying session so far. And Daniel Velez now hunting. Dominic Charles right in front as well. 0.07, 700 up on his personal best, but still not fast enough as it stands. He still pushes. Right now, Riley Curtis looking like the one to beat. 28.073 was Dominic sector 1. 28.002 was sector 1 for Riley Curtis. And about 2/10 off in sector 2 is Dominic Charles. So this is going to be his final push lap. Right now as it stands, it looks like he will be standing the status quo. Huge lock up there. So he heads down now into the penultimate corner. And is that gas running out? Yes, it is, ladies and gentlemen. As there he goes, and that's Daniel Velez coming around now, using up a little bit of that draft. There he goes, comes off of the racing line, goes back on, and heads into the final corner. Goes into that final corner, push, 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 push. And will this be enough to improve? He has 3 drivers that he can possibly take over at this rate. 132.489. Status quo is himself. Roger Keller comes around now, stays as well. P7 and Estefano Barrero comes around the final corner. And where does he put his car? As no, he heads into the pits. And that, ladies and gentlemen, looks like qualifying over. Jaden Harrison, however, he's still on a flying lap, not improving though. So I'm assuming he's bringing it into the pits there. Huge lockup. And that looks, ladies and gentlemen, like the final driver to come in to finish off this qualifying session. Right now, for the first time in CTCC history, Riley Curtis, AC karting driver, puts in the pole position to take the top step of the podium to begin this race. This race is going to be absolutely epic as we get racing in only a moment's time. Riley Curtis, pole position, pole position. Good luck to him, and this is going to be absolutely epic. And ladies and gentlemen,
35 liters?
we
Well,
put in the driver's
I'm on
chat.
duty. I found that I was using less fuel.
Give him a little bit
this
of
race.
give you guys a little bit of
I'm running 34.
Okay.
insight into what these drivers are going through here. As you see the safety car here, ready to go
Congratulations,
racing.
Riley. Thank you.
And again, a huge shout out to Riley. His first run here in pole position at the JSRA for race 1, not for race 2. He's already started on pole from the reverse grid, but this is his best starting position. And definitely looking forward to seeing what he can do here the next few moments. And we have all the lights out. This is a rolling start. We will be led by the safety car here. It will be driven by myself as we prepare to go racing. As the safety car now comes across, that is Riley Curtis there in the BMW. Huge lap for him there to take pole position from Dominic Charles and Rohey Robinson. Oh, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Trying to contact the drivers. The race director giving us some bad information there, but yeah, at this point, let's save the safety car for what is to come. But we have two 20-minute sprint races on the way. As we have two sprint races here at the Brands Hatch. Looking forward to seeing what is to come here this evening. Drivers lining up, warming their tires, preparing themselves for what is to come. I'm pretty excited for this race. We've had some really good racing here at this track. Definitely looking forward to seeing what can be done here. As we have two 20-minute sprint races on the way. And we are double file at the moment. The safety car will be pulling away after this corner. And looking forward to seeing what will come here this evening as these drivers are ready to go racing. Riley Curtis leads the pack. We have rolling start conditions. The racing is about to get good, ladies and gentlemen. As they come around the final corner here. And there we go, green light racing. And Riley Curtis again is looking rapid this evening. A little bit of contact there, and that looks like, ooh, who was that? Raven Plummer, not too much to call a safety car, thank heavens. we get through the first myriad of corners there as they head into turn 2 and 3 now. Cooper Folly and John Singleton, his teammates, the two AC karting racers there fighting a little bit. Giving room for Raven Plummer to move up into P9. Javier Salazar into P10. What a beginning of this race this has been. We have a little bit of action here with the back markers with Sashan Falloon fighting with Rodrigo Senewal. Jaden Harrison has moved up. My apologies, Estefana, Dominic, and Jaden Harrison are all fighting for P2 to P4. That battle has been going on. Ladies and gentlemen, where's Rohir Robinson in this mix? And he is right there waiting, right in the slipstream of Daniel Velez with Kadim Mohammed in P7 right behind him. We continue to ride along board to see what can happen here between them. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be 20 minutes of action. This driver's fighting it out there. It's a train from P1 all the way down to P19. Roger Keller there sitting in P19. Looks like he may have made an issue or had an issue there. And we hope for the best for him in the next few moments. But right now, we're right along board with Rohir Robinson. Kadim Mohammed, my apologies, it's looking like he wants to take a run at him. As he goes on the outside of Rohir Robinson there. And who is that? That is Riley Curtis. That was the pole sitter, ladies and gentlemen. Has to take time and be careful to get back on track. Gets back on clean enough. Right in front of Sashan Falloon. So unfortunate for them. And that looks like a safety car conditions as we see who is that? Estefano sitting back there in the background. And this looks like it could be a safety car. Daniel Velez in P1. Rohir Robinson in P2. Kadim Mohammed in P3. Dominic Charles in P4. Is the safety car conditions? And yes, the safety car has been called. Safety car has been called. And my apologies there, folks. Had to take over for race directorship as they couldn't hear the actual race director in the chat. But we have gone back racing now. And Daniel Velez does lead the pack from Rohit Robinson, from Dominic Charles. The top three. Jaden Harrison sits in P4, Kadeem Mohammed in P5, Javier Salazar and John Singleton look like they're going to be fighting it out for the foreseeable future. We'll just take a quick look from this angle here this evening. Again, folks, my apologies for any technical difficulties. We don't have the full usage of our broadcast cameras. It's causing some glitches with this track, which only happened after we started with such a full grid. It's never happened before, but happens now. But that being said, we're back with the action. Daniel Velez sits in P1 from Rohit Robinson, from Dominic Charles, from Jaden Harrison, from Kadeem Mohammed, from Javier Salazar. John Singleton now with his AC karting teammate right behind. And immediately Riley Curtis there. He's been the fastest driver of the day in qualifying. And looks like he's going to be the fastest driver in this race as well. There's two BMWs in front of him, then a myriad of Toyota Corollas and Hyundai Elantras. But right now, Daniel Velez has full control of this race. Rohit Robinson being hounded by Dominic Charles. Jana Harrison not too far away, looking right there on the outside into turn 2. And he does look on the outside. Will this be enough? No, it will not be. Kadeem Mohammed in P5. And he's just getting a front row seat to what is happening here. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be what we will continue to be watching. Loving to see the drivers out there and their, well, as a matter of fact, my... the elbows are out between Jana Harrison and Dominic Charles there. And this is a battle to watch, ladies and gentlemen. But still not enough for Jana Harrison as Dominic continues and holds that position. And he's sitting there right in the slipstream waiting for any mistakes to happen. And these two have been fighting it out all season. Continue to watch to see what can happen there between them. Kadeem Mohammed, they're just hunting down the likes of the drivers in front. Riley Curtis just picking these drivers off one by one. So he's found his pace and he's catching up to the top 7. So this is going to be the fun driver of this evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is my vote for driver of the day so far. Not sure what took him out of contention or the lead in the beginning, if it was somebody that took him out or if it was of his own. But right now he's hunting down the likes of the drivers in front. Looking forward to seeing what will come in the next few moments. These drivers now are hunting down each and every driver and the times between each other. As we said, Daville Park, ooh, and that looks like a little bit of net coding as Daville Park pulls up behind Raven Plummer, makes a move on her, looking now on Michael Thompson. This is a fight for P12. Raven Plummer goes around the outside. Is it enough? Not enough. Yes, it is. As she takes back that position from the BMW driver to hold on to P12, P13. My apologies. Kadeem Mohammed still hunting down the likes of Jaden Harrison right in front. And this is a train, ladies and gentlemen. The success ballast here this evening working its way because the gap between each driver is so... It's just such a tight field. As we see Leroy Henry there making a move on Daville Park, maybe is closing the gap now on the likes of Raven Plummer, who is hunting down the likes of Michael Thompson. 2/10 is the difference between these two. Daville Park there disconnecting. It could have been that netcode, that network issue. Raven Plummer there looks on the inside, throws a dummy to see if he can throw Michael Thompson off of his game. Looking there, looking, goes again for another dummy. We've seen her do it in the past at the same exact track. So she herself is seeing if she can find some room for some miraculous move to get in front of that Mitsubishi Lancer. Fastest lap goes to Dominic Charles now. Was Daniel Velez quickly taken back from Dominic Charles, but Riley Curtis right now on the back of his teammate, sits there 5/10 behind Cooper Folly and not too far away from the top 7 in front of him, and he's now back in contention for a podium because the pace he's shown, this is going to be an absolute battle. 8 minutes remaining in this race. Let's hope we can just have a clean run until the end. And see if we can get as much places here for Riley Curtis. He started on pole position, now sits in P8. Javier Salazar as well, hunting down Kadeem Mohammed. So that's going to be another battle that we'll continue to watch and see if we can see what is to come in the next few moments. Dominic Charles and Jaden Harrison and Kadeem Mohammed all only a few tenths behind each other. Javier Salazar being the closest driver on track right now, seeing if he can gain an advantage on any of them in front. But this has been the closest gap we've had at a track all season. Rohit Robinson there as well, sitting in P2, still hunting down the likes of Daniel Velez. We'll take a look at them soon. Right now, the closest gap is between Javier and Kadeem, and Riley and Cooper. As I speak of this, my apologies, Roger Keller moves up into P10 to take that position from Rodrigo Senawild. Rodrigo still under threat now by Michael Thompson, so maybe got a bad run there. And this puts him under threat by Raven Plummer as well. But there goes Michael Thompson, looks on the inside, switches back to the outside as they head down now into turn 1. And they are going side by side. He is alongside. Later on the brakes is Michael Thompson. And will this move stick? And it looks good as he takes P11 from the likes of Mr. Rodrigo Senawild, but still not giving up on it as yet is Rodrigo. So that battle continues. Rodrigo now under threat by Raven Plummer, who looks on the inside, pushes the likes of Rodrigo wide. And that moves up from P13 into P12. Rodrigo being bullied by the American driver in Raven Plummer. What a battle this has been, ladies and gentlemen. 6 minutes remaining. Kadeem falling off slightly. Riley Curtis still needs to put a little bit more action into the fold. See him going a little bit slidey there. Saw Javier going a little bit wider, and that will put him under threat now by Cooper Folly, as well as Riley Curtis. And now Riley's going to be looking for his opportunity to see where he can make a move. And there goes Cooper. Late on the brakes. Riley now in contention for this move. And as we speak of this, Dominic Charles will continue to watch. But there goes Riley on the inside, late on the brakes. And that is a move on his teammate to move up into P7, now a second away from Javier Salazar. Dominic Charles and Rohit Robinson now still fighting it out. As they head down now into turn 2, Dominic there looks on the outside. Rohit just holding that inside line. This is a bronze hatch specialist in front of him. That very loudly themed Jamaican Hyundai Elantra. Dominic Charles chases down with 5 minutes remaining. He is on the final podium position. Jaden Harrison 2 seconds off of the podium spots and still being hunted by Kadeem Mohammed. So that's going to be interesting in the next few moments. But there goes Dominic, a 10th off of Rohit Robinson. We've seen these two with some highlights of the race since round 2 to round 3 to now in round 4. Will this be the battle? 5 tenths is the gap between Rohit and Daniel Velez. Dominic Charles are hunting and just waiting for his moment to pounce. We know him as a very calculated driver. He's been one that will leave it for the last minute. 2 tenths is the gap between himself, the driver in front of him. This, ladies and gentlemen, is only getting closer and closer. This driver's not giving an inch. As there you see, Dominic again goes on the outside. Now takes a look on the inside. Where Rohit has enough. Will he go for a dive here? In turn 4, no, not enough. So go use as much of the track as possible. Dominic Charles there hunting down Rohit Robinson with 3 minutes remaining. Woo! What a battle this has been, ladies and gentlemen. Riley Curtis now has been overtaken by his teammate in Cooper Folly. That fight for P7 and P8. Riley still only 3 tenths off though, so he's still in contention. It's going to be his fight Let's fight to win here. And as we continue to watch and ride along, Kadeem Mohammed there, sitting not too far behind Jaden Harrison, still not enough to make the move. But Kadeem himself has been one to leave some moves until the last minute, so he himself is hunting down the likes of that Jamaican in front of him. Has some work to do. 2.5 minutes remaining. Dominic Charles and Rohey Robinson still fighting it out here. And again, gets very close here in the first sector. Still not enough. And this battle is going to continue for the next 2 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. But while we speak of that, we have Leroy here now, hunting down the likes of Rodrigo Senewell. Looks on the outside, goes for the switch now. Will this be the ideal line to get that run? Not enough is the gap between himself. 5 tenths now, was 2 tenths. Still has some work to do here. Daniel Velez as well, still putting on a race for the show and for the masses, as he himself is holding on quite well. Maintaining a steady gap of 7 tenths between himself and Rohey Robinson. So he himself, he started what, P6 and has made his way into pole position and has just maintained that lead from the safety car restart. Dominic Charles there still hunting. Javier Salazar as well, hunting. We are now entering into the final minute, and then we will have one extra lap. If you look in the top right corner, that train, ladies and gentlemen, between 1st and 14th, these drivers haven't given an inch all race. And as they head down now into turn 1, Rohit on the defensive, holds that inside line. And Rohey, Dominic Charles there will get the better run now, coming out of turn 1, gets the run, looks on the inside. Rohey there moving late and force his way through. Dominic Charles takes P2 from the likes of the Trinidadian, and that was the move of the evening, as Dominic Charles there moves up into P2 to take that position away from the Jamaican driver. Rohey Robinson, however, not giving up as yet, and this will lend very well to Daniel Velez, who now moves away from the likes of them. That 7/10 gap has moved up to 1.5. Jaden Harrison now as well gets caught up in the mix now, so he's getting a chance to look at the battle, and this is his chance as well to see where he can get that race back underway, to see where he can capitalize. But Rohey Robinson again has not given up, as he's there sitting in the slipstream. We have 2 more laps, so 1 more lap after this lap until the end of this race. 1.5 more laps to go for Rohey Robinson, 1.25 if we're being honest, as they are now in sector 3, and we'll be heading down now into the penultimate chicane. Here they go, 2 tenths is the gap between Rohey Robinson, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is the fight for P3 and P2. We've seen the 3 from P2 to P4 right now fight it out all season long, but Daniel himself said he needs a victory to stay in contention in the overall championship standings. And there goes Rohey Robinson, goes wide, and there goes Jaden Harrison to take the final podium position from Rohey Robinson, from his teammate, and Rohey drops 2 positions from P3 to P5, and Javier Salazar now will continue to take a look at him as they head up now P3 to P5 on the final lap. Now we are Jaden Harrison 6 tenths behind Dominic Charles, so he himself gained an advantage here, and it looks like this is going to be the status quo unless there's a mistake in front of him. But Dominic Charles now 6 tenths clear off Jaden Harrison, but 1.6 seconds away from the leader in Daniel Velez, who hasn't put 1 foot wrong. Javier Salazar now is hunting that Jamaican, who should have some dirt on that tire, but right now not looking like the best look for him at all. And this has been a dramatic finish to this race, as the battle for the final podium position is still underway. Well, it looks like it's concluded, but we won't say it until the fat lady sings. But right now, Jaden Harrison sits in P3. Javier Salazar is still hunting down the likes of Rohey Robinson, who again looks like he goes a little bit wide there, so he's not fully safe in P5. And they head now into the final 2 or 3 corners. And as we speak of that, Daniel Velez now heads down into the final corner, and we'll go along board with him as he finishes off his evening of racing in race 1. And after an absolutely epic showcase here this evening, Daniel Velez crosses the finish line in P1 to take victory here in race 1, followed by Dominic Charles in P2, Jaden Harrison in Sitter, in Riley Curtis in P8, John Singleton. So 3 AC karting drivers in the top 10. Roger Keller takes the final points positions here this evening. What a battle this evening has been. Michael Thompson in P11, Raven Plummer in P12, Rodrigo Sonnenwild in P13, Leroy Henry in P14, Fernando Gonzalez in P15, Sashawn Falloon in P16, Tizwan Taji in P17. The rest did not finish. Daniel Velez here, ladies and gentlemen, has been absolutely epic to finish off this race. Flashes his headlights in victory, and huge congratulations to them as they come around for their victory lap.
No, I'm just wait till they count down and it teleport me in a pit. Because if I touch him, I probably get DQ.
Hey man, you can mute me, please? Just mute me in the servo, Discord. Muted me. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. We have the rolling start on the way. We have the rolling start on the way. Looking forward to seeing what these drivers can do. And my apologies there. I was trying to take myself off of the driver's chat, but because I'm driving the safety car, it was a little bit difficult. Didn't want to be the unsafety car and cause any incidents here. Right now we have Roger Kello leading the pack here this evening for the reverse grid. We have the top 10 finished in P10. So he now begins in P1. This is typically the trouble race, so we're hoping and praying that we won't have any incidents here this evening. Man can hope. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the safety car will be pulling away after this next chicane. And the drivers will be preparing themselves to go racing. And we will definitely be enjoying what it is to come here as the racers prepare for what it is. The next few moments, Roger Keller will be leading the pack from Riley Curtis, who did start on pole position, starts in P2 here this evening. Roger Keller gets the green light now, and it's been race time to go, ladies and gentlemen. This is Wanta G got a drive-through for jumping the start there. And already Jaden Harrison and Rohit Robinson are already looking like they want to see if they can put a little bit of drama here this evening. But right now, Riley Curtis takes P3, Cooper Foley moves, and there goes John Singleton into the wall. Not sure what had happened there for him. Was it one of his teammates that touched him? Not sure. But right now, Cooper Foley, AC Karting, two AC Karting drivers in front. Jaden and Rohit Robinson sitting in P5 for Team JSRA. Kadeem Mohammed in P7 and Dominic Charles in P8 with two Nova Racing drivers right behind. this is going to be the battle as Javier gets overtaken by both Raven and Daniel Velez there immediately. So, ladies and gentlemen, what is to come here with the race just beginning? Quite a battle on the way as Javier there takes a look on the inside of Raven Plummer there as they head down now. Fast right hand though. Hold your corner. Raven does lose a position but doesn't give it up as yet. Sits right there in the slipstream of Daniel Velez, of Javier Salazar, my apologies. These drivers will continue. Right now the battle is between Cooper Folly and Rohe Robinson, and there's a little bit of contact there. Bumping is racing. And Rohe Robinson loses 3 positions as he's pushed wide there and now sits wowzers as he moves down now into P13 from 1 corner. So right now Jaden Harrison, he got away cleanly and he now sits in P5. But right now Roger Keller sits in P1 from Riley Curtis, from Jaden Harrison. Kadeem Mohammed in P5. Dominic Charles in P6. Rohe will have some work to do here this evening. Sits in P13, P12 now. We'll have some chopping to do here in this evening's race. We're only 3 minutes in, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready for what is to come. Raven Plummer there as well, fighting it out with Javier. Still that battle continues. That battle is not going to end soon because Javier, Daniel and Raven, all 3 of them fighting it out now. Raven here goes wide, holds position, but she moves up from P9 into P8, but that fight hasn't given up yet because she's right there in the midst of Daniel Velez with 50 kilograms, a little bit of contact there, but not enough to cause a major incident. And Raven Plummer moves up into P8. Daniel Velez and Javier Salazar have to concede for P9. That is going to be a battle that will continue, but Riley Curtis right now hunting down. Remember, he had quite a run in the first race, and Roger there, late move to go on the outside. Riley has some work to do, 1.5 seconds. He wants to get in front of this driver as quickly as possible. That looks like a little bit of a dummy there for Riley. He tries to see if he can throw the Swiss driver in front of him off of his own game. But ladies and gentlemen, while we're speaking of this, the fight for P4 now, the best of the rest as Kadeem Mohammed and Trinidad and Dominic Charles of Trinidad and Tobago fight it out for P4. Late on the brakes is Dominic, goes back on the throttle, little bit of contact, but is it enough? Yes it is, as he now moves up into P4 but not giving up, and the outside will turn into the inside now, heading into the next corner. Maybe using a little bit of the hybrid boost there is Dominic Charles as he moves up into P4. Kadeem has to concede that position. Ooh, what a move there by Dominic. Already sweating here. The fight now for P1 is under threat as Riley Curtis there took a look, and guess what, ladies and gentlemen, this has brought Jaden Harrison into contention. Will the Jamaican force his way through? Will he try and use Riley to get past the Swiss driver in front? We have 15 minutes to go, not much, no, not necessarily any rush needed. But there goes Jaden Harrison looking on the outside, waiting on his moment to pounce. Jaden Harrison now with the fastest lap of the race so far. While they're fighting it out, John Singleton, Cooper Foley and Leroy Henry fight it out for the final points position. Leroy now holding fort. It's about 8 seconds off the car ahead of him in Michael Thompson. So he's going to be the cork in this cog. He will have 14 minutes to hold off the likes of Cooper Folly, who has had pace all evening. Looks on the inside. Leroy Henry tries to hold off. Cooper goes on the inside, hugs that inside curve. Leroy not giving it up as yet though. Leroy holds again the outside line. Cooper now, will he understeer? No, he doesn't. Leroy with a brilliant defense to hold off P10. John Singleton watching in the rear view just to see where he can find his mix here this evening. See if he can gain an advantage on any of the drivers in front of him. But this battle for the final points position between these three are underway. Riley Curtis though still pushing to try and see if he can catch up to the likes of Roger Keller and make a move. We might see some bump drafting at some point between Jaden and Riley. See if they can get in front of that Swiss driver and Roger Kello. There goes Cooper again, looks on the inside. Leroy on a late defensive move, and is it enough? No, better exit go to Leroy. Pushes wide is Cooper Folly, has to back out of it. And there goes Leroy again with a brilliant defense to hold off the charging Australian driver behind him. This just puts Javier Salazar right back in the mix. So these four are now fighting for the final points position here. 12 minutes to go. Leroy trying his best. Now we'll have the inside line as Cooper Folly looks on the outside. This looks like a move done. And yes, he is promoted into P10. And this compromises a run for Leroy as now John looks on the inside of him. And AC Karting bullying Leroy now, and Javier Salazar as well getting into the mix. And ooh, there goes that BMW. Javier again, still right there behind everybody, just waiting on any moment to pounce on the drivers ahead. But Leroy holds forth, still in contention to fight for that moment. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my apologies while we were watching that fight. The fight for the over by Jaden Harrison. Jaden takes that position away. Rogers going. Looking. Riley there with a switcheroo. Not enough. Not close enough, but still has the pace. 12 minutes to go. This race is not over for him. But right now, Dominic Charles 2 seconds off of them. And what you don't want to happen is you bring Dominic back into the mix, because once Dominic gets in, you know he's going to force his way through. And he's a rapid and strategic driver. There goes the BMW, very drifty. And Dominic must be smiling now as that 2 seconds gap quickly doing this to 1.6 seconds. Jaden Harrison now still 6/10 clear off Riley Curtis. Riley just hoping that there can be some way for Jaden to slow down the likes of that Swiss driver in front of him. These drivers are going to be fighting it out. Jaden wants that top step of the podium. It will give him the most ballast for next week, but hey, points are points. And we've seen what he can do with those with the balance anyway. So at this point, go for gold in every circumstance, because there he goes, and this brings Riley right back into the mix. Jaden, I believe, has 40 kilograms of ballast here this evening as he finished race 1 in P3. But that BMW just looks absolutely rapid there as he sits in the slipstream of the Jamaican driver. Jaden Harrison still needs to push 3/10. That Swiss driver in Roger Keller is doing a world of defense here to hold off the drivers behind him. Goes on the inside, goes back on the outside, closes that look. And Jaden now still looking, but not enough for the Jamaican. Riley as well getting the best seat of this. And again, huge shout out to the fans in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, just give a shout out to your favorite driver and their chance to get the driver of the day votings up and going. Most driver of the day votings for the season will be given a prize courtesy of 7 Mile Racing, our friends over in Cayman Islands, of Sim Racing gloves. And there goes Jaden Harrison. That compromises Roger Kello. Riley Curtis there. Ooh, and there's contact between the two. And Roger pushes Jaden Harrison off the track. Dominic Charles gains an advantage. Dominic Charles there. Ooh, and there goes Rogers again, going drifted, and that puts Riley Curtis in P1. Roger Keller now in P2. Jaden Harrison falls back to P5. Kadeem Mohammed as well promoted into P4. And that puts Daniel Velez race winner from race 1. To look at the rear view of Jaden Harrison in front of him. Team JSRA not their best outing this evening at Brands Hatch. This has been a torrid evening of racing for them. With that being said, Roger Keller now still hunts down the likes of Riley Curtis, who we've seen with pole position here this evening. Started on pole in race 1, started in P8 or P9 in race 2, and has made his way up into the top step of the podium. He has 9 minutes, 8.5 minutes remaining. Can he hold off for the next few moments? As Dominic Charles now hunting the likes of the Swiss driver in front of him. John Singleton as well, chasing down his teammate in Cooper Folly for the final points position there in P11 and P10. Rohir Robinson in P8 was fighting up there and fell all the way back down to P13. Has made his way up to P8 now. Still picking off one by one. What an evening of racing this has been for him, ladies and gentlemen. Raven Plummer now looking in the rear view of Daniel Velez. This is going to be the battle to watch now, as he's only 5/10 off the Colombian in front of him. Javier Salazar as well, and John Singleton fight it out. The final points position looking very good. Every point counts, ladies and gentlemen. The prize pool goes from 1st to 8th. These drivers have been doing an absolutely epic drive here this evening. Tense the gap between Dominic and Roger Kello. Whew, ladies and gentlemen, what an evening of racing this has been. Dominic looking on the outside there. Right now just picking his points. These two have found themselves in the past. Definitely trying to see if they can hold off each other here in the next few moments. This is going to be quite a battle here. Seen Rogers with some very interesting defense in the past. Continue to see what he can do here this evening to see if he can hold off the likes of the Trinidadian behind him. Again, ladies and gentlemen, our sincerest apologies for the frame drops here this evening. It was at the last minute where we couldn't change any of the settings. It's fine up until the stream went live. We make all checks, make sure everything is good again for next week as we prepare for the next evening of racing in round 5. Dominic Charles still hunting down the likes of the Swiss driver in Roger Keller. Jaden Harrison had dropped down to P9. He's hunting down the likes of Michael Thompson now. But right now, this is the most diverse 2 podiums that we've had for the entirety of the CTCC season. Little bit of contact there between Jaden and Michael Thompson. The two are side by side now. Jaden looking like he has the advantage. He will have the outside line. Michael backing out of it there. Just let Jaden go. Better to be safe than sorry. These two continue their battle here this evening. Raven Plummer again though. Hunting down the likes of Daniel Velez in front of him. Two tenths is the gap. Look on the inside. Ooh, and that's a blue flag. Into Sean Falloon. That was not what you wanted to see there. Looked on the inside. Thought Daniel went defensive. Went back on the outside and only to see that orange Subaru printed right in her front view. That was not what you wanted to see at all. That was her moment, but 3.5 minutes remaining. Roger Kello and Dominic Charles falling off the pace a little bit. 1.6 seconds between themselves. Riley Curtis. Riley just looking very dominant here this evening. Started on pole position in race 1. Not sure what had happened, but if it stays as it is, we'll hear from him in the commentator's booth. As we continue to hope and see what can come from these drivers in the next few moments. Apologies, Michael Thompson there now still hunting down Cooper Foley, and the final points position is between P9 and P11 and P12. My apologies. But as we've been talking, Dominic did get the run on Rogers. Rogers not giving it up as yet though, but that looks like a move done as Dominic now holds the outside, and will that be the move for him? And there's contact between the two, still not enough to throw anybody off the mix, but Dominic now moves into P2 as the two still continue to fight. Late on the brakes goes Roger Kello. 2 minutes to go, and this is a battle, ladies and gentlemen. These two are fighting it out and none giving an inch to each other. Late on the brakes there is Roger Kello, which should give Dominic a good opportunity now, but still not enough. There's 2 more minutes to force a move through. Going for as many points positions here. We now have the 2-minute warning, ladies and gentlemen. These drivers are not giving an absolute inch. Seen the sky looking a little bit overcast there for a second. Sure, the driver was just hoping no rain will come. At this point, just finish the race off strong. 2 tenths the gap. Dominic looks on the outside. Now sits in the slipstream. Will look on the outside now. Go to the switcheroo as they head down now into the final corner. Dominic Charles does take the move for the moment's time. Looks on the outside, goes wide. Little bit of contact, but still not enough. But still, the two make contact again, and the two are fighting it out now as they head down now into turn 1. And Kadeem Mohammed is getting the best view of all of this as he sits there right to see what's happening, and he's now introduced into the mix with a minute left. Can he find himself on the podium here in the last minute as he goes on the outside? Dominic Charles pushes a little bit to Roger Kello to make that move. Now moves up into P2. Rogers now, we know he's very aggressive. Will he try to force his way back through? No, he cannot. This looks at the moment for Dominic Charles to make that move and run. Roger Kello now in P3. Kadeem Mohammed still looking to see if he can gain an advantage and gain back that final second step of the podium. Right now, Kadeem Mohammed looking in the rear end of that Toyota Corolla driven by the Swiss driver. Will Kadeem get a moment to shine here this evening? This has been an absolute spectacle of a battle. Wowzers indeed, ladies and gentlemen. We have 12 seconds until, and then we will have one more lap of racing after this one. As Kadeem Mohammed now looks on the inside, late on the brakes as he goes around the likes of the Swiss driver. Rogers did turn into him and loses out. Roger Kello is now sitting in P5. Rohey Robinson, where is he? Oh! And that is an absolutely unsafe entry. We just turned to Rohey and immediately ends up in the back end of Roger Kello to cause a major incident. Wow, ladies and gentlemen. That was not what we wanted to see here this evening. Especially Rohey made his way into P5 and fell back into P6 now. And that is absolutely disappointing. But That being said, ladies and gentlemen, right now, Riley Curtis is on the final lap and he is looking rapid as he sits in P1. 6 seconds clear of Dominic Charles, who is in a fight. Oh no, that's blue flags, my apologies. And it looked like he was fighting, but driver in front just did not give an inch, and that's Fernando Gonzalez. As Kadeem Mohammed now comes up behind him, Fernando pulls out off the racing line to give way to the race leaders. But that being said, we'll ride along board with Mr. Riley Curtis of AC Karting, who again started on pole position. Hasn't put 1 foot wrong in the second race, made his way downtown, walked as fast as he possibly could. Comes around the final corner now. Finish off this race in P1. Again, it's never over until the fat lady sings, but guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The fat lady has sung and Riley Curtis wins this race in P1. Dominic Charles comes along in P2. Kadeem Mohammed, final podium position in P3. Daniel Velez in P4. Raven Plummer comes around now in P5. Jaden Harrison in P6. Where's Rohey Robinson? And Rohey is now sitting in P13. Not sure what happened there, but Jaden in P6 now as he crosses the line. Javier Salazar right there behind. Finishes off in P7. John Singleton in P8. Cooper Fowler in P9. Michael Thompson, the final driver around, in P10. 4 points positions. Leroy Henry, the first driver outside of the points. Rohey Robinson. DNF heads to the pits early. Not sure if he got a drive-through penalty or something, but he finishes off the race in P12. Absolutely epic battle there this evening between the drivers, but huge congratulations to Mr. Riley Curtis, who there goes drifting with Dominic Charles in P2, Kadeem Mohammed in P3. What an absolute epic evening of racing this was. Team JSRA drivers not having the best evening either. But wowzers, this has been an absolute spectacle. We'll have Dominic Charles. We'll have Riley Curtis. We'll have Dominic Charles. We'll have Daniel Velez. Jaden Harrison, and for the first time, Kadeem Mohammed.
Will fling the car at me.
Very, very
Well,
aggressive. Very.
And ladies
Yeah,
and
that was
gentlemen,
crazy, man.
This has been an absolute
Well.
spectacle of a race.
Well.
Huge congratulations to Riley Curtis there. Finishes off for AC
race, guys.
Man, I
Karting.
didn't.
in
Yeah, good race,
P1.
man. Good win. Congrats.
Congratulations on the
The
win,
man
Riley.
himself, an
Thanks.
absolutely epic race here.
To be honest with you, Dominic, I was staying a bit below just in case.
Honestly, I saw that and I was like, he might actually get away with this. Because I was watching the chaos happen around me and I said, my God, I'm gonna get taken out here.
Yeah. And then with the Lapid guy, I also take my time because I did saw him fighting with you, and then
The Alpha,
he
right?
fight Kadim. Like, why?
Yeah, I don't know. That was so
I thought
strange.
he was going to take out Kadim, bro. Like, to be completely honest with you, I thought he was going to kill Kadim.
We'll go into commentary now. It's giving you a little bit of insight in the cooldown room.
Flags just didn't exist.
Yeah.
I got lucky
What is
with
that?
the flags. There was like 5 people.
Raven, are you still here?
Nah, we're in the other chat, the cool.
Oh, no. Oh, okay.
Who was the blue
Who's
flag
Raven?
guy?
Who was the blue
it-
flag? Fernando.
Yeah, that's him.
How
Yeah,
many
I
times can
totally
you
remember him.
How many times can you lap to Swana Agi? Like,
Yeah, I think he
Oh,
was having a rough
I have a
race.
crazy one. I think I don't know if it was to Suano but it was a Subaru. So I don't know if it was to Suano
was
or
it
it
a
was Sasha. But Jesus Christ, we had a heart attack, me and Raven.
Yeah. I don't know what he does. He just drives on the grass for no reason.
Dana, what
Yeah.
happened to you in that second race?
Roger take me out, and then my car understeer into a wall, and
I've got the
got
replay,
dizzy
Jaden.
written off.
I've got the replays. I've got the whole thing if you want it.
Man, I was right behind, and I just watched a dust cloud, and I was like, oh, Roger's gone.
Yeah, same
And
for
then
me.
I
And
see
then I
your
saw
car.
Jaden. Yeah.
You want to know the funniest thing too is that we were messaging and saying like to race good with each other today, and then that happened.
Ooh.
But I don't know. It's like I don't know. You'll have to see what the stewards
Bro,
say,
it's
but
classic. It's classic. Remember the surname that I have for him, bro. It's classic.
No,
Oh gosh.
he could race. Like we were
He-
racing good, but it's just
That's
that
the thing,
one
I-
time. just-
Yeah, cause I
One
usually
time.
race side by side with him, and it's no problem. He was probably having a bad day. I don't think
Yeah.
too much of it.
Yeah, so.
But
Yeah.
that was rough, man. That was
You
rough.
should see the
Would have been
suspension
such a
with
good
these three
battle.
turn one.
Yeah. I saw these three of y'all just going like a train with each other. Y'all were just right behind each other for the whole lap.
Sorry, Jay. I just go like slow
Riley?
in.
Riley, can you speak to your partner and please ask him to not send a dive bomb to wanting to kill someone else?
Who's my?
Cooper?
Yeah, Cooper. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know
Yeah.
what he does to be honest. He just goes for it. The kid.
No, you know. Thanks for his dive bomb, almost
Yeah.
taking me, hitting me and almost taking me out of the. I totally lost you guys. Like you
Yeah.
were just vanished.
Yeah. Yeah. But you fighting with Cooper? Oh, here you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. Alright.
Hey, Kadeen, congrats, bro. I think is your first on this championship, right? Your first.
Yep.
Hey,
Congrats, bro.
congrats.
You deserve it.
Thanks.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was an absolutely epic race here this evening. Again, huge shout outs to the drivers winning this evening. Some unfortunate turn of events for some of the drivers, but we will start for the first time this season. Driver number 246, Mr. Kadeem Mohammed. Kadeem, can you hear us?
Yep.
Well, first of all, brother, congratulations. Happy to have you here in the interview room. It's been a long time to happen. But it just seems like every time there's some incident or some unfortunate circumstance, but you are leading the bronze class championship this season, and you're looking very rapid here, even this evening, finishing off in P3 in race number 2. Any thoughts on the race, first of all?
Just a game of survival, honestly. I definitely not as fast as Dominic and Jaden and the top 5. I don't even know how I even in the top 5. But, it happened. So I happy for that. It's slowly getting better. These aren't my type of cars, so this is now my first time learning these like touring cars. It's not my type, but it's a good learning curve.
Absolutely. And I mean, you say you're not the fastest, but ladies and gentlemen, he's only one of the fastest drivers in GT3 in Assetto Corsa Competizione. He never leaves the top 3 when he's on track. So trust me, he's just learning this car. So he is one of those competitors that will come out very, very, very high in the series, but especially as he learns the car. But that being said, you were in that battle as you saw Dominic and Rogers fighting for that final podium position for P2 and P3, and then you just creeped in time after time until you just found your way right there where you needed to. Any thoughts on the incident in front of you?
I didn't see the incident in front of me actually, but I did make contact with Roger. I not sure how he dived to the he took the racing line and I went out the inside, but we were both alongside before I hit the apex and I braked within. I believe that I braked within good range, so I was able to hit the apex, but he turned into me. That's how it looked from my POV. So I don't know.
Well, we'll definitely be looking at it in the post-race stewarding. But nonetheless, it was an absolute showcase for you here tonight, bro. You looked good even in race one. Any thoughts from that one?
Yeah, race one was the most straightforward race for me, to be honest, but simply not fast enough. So, it's just trying to keep up.
Right. Well, congratulations to you, Kadim. It was epic having you here. Looking forward to seeing you next week as we tackle on into round 5.
Yes, thank you. Most definitely, we'll be here.
And always, please, we have the LMU sprint starting tomorrow, so hopefully we can see you there as well if you have the time. Again, one of the more dominant racers here, especially in the Caribbean, especially in those GT3, and I'm not sure if you do LMDH, but whichever car you choose, I'm sure you'll be quite a competitor.
I try to see what happens.
Absolutely.
Usually Saturdays I don't be home, so.
Right. Well, congratulations again, brother. P3 in race 2. Absolutely, thank you too. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Kadim Mohammed, Asian driver, finishing off in P3 here in race 2. But as we hear some quacks, we now have driver number 604, Jaden Harrison. Did have a good qualifying session. Started P3. Got into some drama in the start of race 1. We'd love to hear how that went for him. Did end up finishing the race off in P3, if I remember correctly. But Jaden, driver number 604, can you hear us?
Yeah.
All right, Jaden. So firstly, we'd love to hear about that first race. Trying to remember what it was, but I remember you finding your way up in the top 3, and then some incident caused you to drop down. Could you walk us through what had happened there?
The top three. In race 1?
Right.
Shoot. I think. Oh yes, I think we were racing, and then I guess just the tires just fell off. I was trying to like block because I had the car is very heavy, and I took the wrong tires, the mediums, and then basically Dominic just passed me and just pulled away. I was just sitting down, and then yeah, P4.
Okay, my apologies. I am trying to remember. Didn't you finish the first race in P3?
Oh yes, Rohit took a L. He went wide and basically went off the track.
Huge L.
And then I just got free P3.
Right. I remember that.
I didn't deserve it though.
Well, what started all of this, because you did start off in P2, was what caused that safety car incident. We're still yet to see how you got affected in it. So would love to hear from how you fell back from P2 to, I think it was P5 or P6, and had to fight your way back through.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah, so what happened is that basically Riley, well, he didn't really do anything wrong, but on my end, he parked it on the exit, and like I didn't really have space to lift, and we went into the rear of him, so I guess I got slowed down, and Dominic was alongside me, and we were too wide into turn 3, and I just got pushed wide a little bit, like our cars are like basically stuck to each other,
Mm-hmm.
and then out of nowhere he got like flung, like his rear end just got flung around, and
Wow.
then he was just parked in the middle of the track, couldn't do anything.
Right, that's
So
what we're
it's,
trying to
I don't
figure
think
out.
it's anybody's fault. It's just bug, network bug, I guess.
Ouch. Ouch.
Collision bug.
Ouch. And then, well, that one we didn't see it on stream. We're trying to figure out what had happened. So thank you for the explanation. But then in race 2 now, you were fighting your way through. You had quite a battle to get through up until you reached into the top step of the podium, and you were fighting for P1. And then it looked as if Rogers ran into your rear end, was it, or to the side, and it sent you careening. He found himself in quite a few incidents here this evening, as a matter of fact. Could you give us your thoughts on what had happened from your point of view there?
Yeah, so I was going like at good pace with less weight on the car. So I think I could have got the P1, but we're going with Riley. I think Riley making a few mistakes, so I got past him, tried to get Roger, and I got him down the inside and went a little wide out the next corner, and he got the run on me. But it's like when we reached the turning point, I delayed my turning to like try and let him go too wide. Although too wide there was kind of suspicious, and I guess he didn't turn the wheel into the corner, so it's like I don't know, he didn't back out or turn in. So I don't want to flame Roger because he's a good racer when he's ready, but sometimes it's just I don't know.
He has his moments, and
yeah,
he's one of our.
all of us have moments.
Yeah. We all have our moments. It was unfortunate because it wasn't just one incident, it was quite a few. But that was an absolutely epic battle nonetheless. We wanted to see it finish on a cleaner end, but Rogers tried his best to defend, but that defense wasn't enough, and it did cost you. This wasn't the greatest evening of racing for Team JSRA, but still nonetheless a good haul of points. Any final thoughts as we head into round 5 next week?
So Noma is a freedom track, so we can't lose.
Absolutely.
Cannot lose.
Absolutely. Well, huge congratulations to you. Driver number 604, Jaden Harrison, is fighting in the top step of the championship standings. We'll have less ballast for next week. I'm sure he's happy to hear that at least. But that being said, congratulations, Jaden, and we'll talk soon.
Okay.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was Jaden Harrison. Finishes off his evening of racing. But right now we have driver number 333 of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Dominic Charles, who finished the first race in P2. And guess where he finished the second race in P2 as well. He had quite a battle there in race 1 with Rohey Robinson, and that was one that we definitely enjoyed to watch until Mr. Robinson took away himself and went a little bit wide, costing himself about 3 or 4 positions. But Dominic, I'm assuming you can hear us based on your reaction. Could you walk us through that battle between Rohey? Because you guys have found yourselves on so many accounts fighting it out. But yeah, love to hear your thoughts there, sir.
I mean, it's always a pleasure to battle with Rohey. He's fast, clean, respectful, and everything. That was that was something else. I really had to push to try to get past him, and I thought there was a chance I could catch up to Daniel because I knew I had the pace, but it just took too long.
Right.
Rohey put up such a good defense; it was way too hard to get past, and I got lucky on the last corner. I ran as wide as I could, and I know that dirty air is a little hard for him to follow in, so you'd either have to back off or. Well, you saw what happened.
There you go. Unfortunate there for Rohey, especially that battle was good. We were hoping we would have it until the end. But that being said, outside of that one, were there any other notable moments in race 1 for you? Because
when I spun, I'm not sure how it happened with Jadon, but I got a little tap and the car just went sideways.
Right.
And poor Stefano, he got absolutely butchered by that. That was so rough. So
we did miss it on the stream, but I definitely heard about it in the rolling start, restart. So I'm sure, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see what had happened there, if it's clean enough for the highlights this week, we'll definitely be posting a explanation there. But in race 2, you had quite a battle to catch back up to the top. You had Roger and Riley there fighting it out, as well as Jaden. But you did catch up to Rogers and Riley there in the dying moments. But Rogers gave you a hard time. Could you walk us through what had happened there?
Yeah, I saw the three of them battling up ahead. They were pretty close. So I tried to put down some quick laps, and I saw the time closing, but I going into can't remember which corner it was, but I just saw this big dust cloud. And I was like, oh, I don't know who that is, but based on how the timing was looking, I thought it was Roger. And then I saw Jaden in the dust, and I was like, oh, well,
Ouch.
I have a chance at a win here. Because I didn't think I could get past him. And as soon as I got near Roger, it was pretty difficult. I mean, he was kind of sending it up the inside where I didn't think there was much room, or he would have had to have brake too late for it to be possible, and I kept getting pushed wide. So I was like, you know what, you could get this same thing back. I sent it right up the inside into turn 2, and I kind of stuck. So
What a move it was. And I mean, we even saw, who was it? I believe it was Kadeem Mohammed who came into the picture at the last moment. I actually forgot to ask him about this battle. But Kadeem, who came in at the last moment, you know, he was hunting down the likes of Rogers, and that's what actually gave him entry into P3. But yeah, what a battle that was, man. It was fun to watch. It was entertaining, to say the least. But yeah, again, huge congratulations, man.
thanks, man. These races were, I think, the best I've had in a while. These were really fun.
Man, they're fun to watch. Trust me, I kind of want to get from behind the safety car and see if I can join in for some racing at some point. But
Oh, we had to see you on track.
that being said, man, congratulations, bro. Huge run, huge haul of points this week as well, to go towards the championship point standings. And we'll see you next week, hopefully, for round 5. As we head out
thanks,
to
bro.
Sonoma. And thank you too.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Good job, and congratulations again, ladies and gentlemen. That was Dominic Charles, who finishes off in P2 in both races. Absolutely epic showcase of racing. We have 2 more interviews now, as we have Riley Curtis of AC Karting, and the man himself who put on what an absolute epic qualifying. I think qualified about 4 or 5 tenths from the likes of Jaden Harrison. Did an absolutely epic job to start the race until there was some moment, and we'll ask him about it now. Riley, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, first of all, brother, congratulations on the win in race 2. Congratulations on pole position. It was so unfortunate to see you die there in the first race, but we didn't get to see what had happened. We just heard big incident, and there you were in the grass. But could you walk us through what had happened on your end?
Yeah, so I usually take the corner slow in and fast out, and then basically on the exit I had one wheel on the track and one wheel on the outside, and then Jane's a front wheel drive, so he had torque steer, and then just
Ouch. And that's what did your
Yeah.
race undone. I did see you having some battles with your teammate there in Cooper Valley, which was pretty fun to watch, if I do say so myself.
Yes.
But you guys fought it out for P7 and P8, but then came race number 2, and you had that battle between yourself and Jaden and Roger. Jaden
Yeah.
coming in at the last moment, but you got that run on Rogers. Could you walk us through your fight with Rogers this evening?
Yeah, it was a good fight. It's just hard to pass him. Like, I found it challenging, and then just the Jaden and Roger fought, and then I just made out of when they were fighting. I just took the pass.
And then when you made that move, you just didn't look back because you were running away with the lead. I think you won by about 2 seconds. This has been your most dominating showcase here in the CTCC.
Yeah.
Is there any reason why? Do you like this track track in Brands Hatch?
Yeah, I like this track because I race it on ACC and stuff a lot. So
Nice.
yeah.
So we'll definitely label you as a Brands Hatch specialist, and we look forward to seeing you again in the top 3 in the next few races, because you found pace here this evening. I'm sure you'll find it again soon in the next race at Sonoma in round 5. But congratulations, and again, huge shout out to that qualifying lap. It was an absolute shocker, to say the least. But I mean, I think you're 5/10 clear or 4/10 clear of the drivers behind you in Jaden Harrison and Dominic Charles. So huge congratulations, bro. Wish you got that first maiden win in the race 1, but I'm sure you'll get another opportunity sooner than later, especially with the pace that we've seen. But again, huge congratulations. Any last words to your sponsors there, especially them out at AC Karting?
Yeah, I'd like to thank AC and John and Cooper for like a good race, and you for hosting this good championship.
Well, again, as I said to everybody, thank you guys for joining, because without you guys, we wouldn't have a product to sell. And again, huge job to you guys as always. Love to see what you guys are doing, and always a pleasure to have you guys on track. So looking forward to seeing you next week as we enter into the American, the land of freedom, as they call it, in the at the Sonoma racetrack.
Yep.
Congratulations again. As am I.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, bro. Have a good evening or good day, because it should be morning in Australia now.
Yeah, it's 1 p.m.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, have a great rest of the day, brother.
Yep. See ya.
Later.
Cheers.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was Riley Curtis. But that being said, the man, the myth, the legend, driver number 379, the leader of Noble Racing Team, who just, I think, started in P6 or P7 in race 1 and saw what had happened in front of him and just put his foot down and never looked back since. Finished race 1 in P1, finished race 2 in P4, if I remember correctly. Driver number 379 of Noble Racing. He's won a driver of the day already. Will he win another this evening? Mr. Daniel Velez. Daniel, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro. Thank you so much.
Thank you too, and again, congratulations, sir. What an absolute spectacle of your dominant victory in race 1. You held off the likes of Dominic, Jaden, Rohe Robinson. You had some chasing drivers in the back, but you just never made one mistake. I did see you. I'm gonna assume, well, we heard it in the cool down room that you were gazing a little bit. We didn't know that was what actually happened, but we did see you almost go off track there at some point, and we were wondering what had happened, but it did explain it that you were so engrossed in the race behind us. Could you walk us through race 1 and your experience there, sir?
Yeah, sure. So to be honest, on race 1, I started a bit mad, kind of mad, because I was going for a fast lap for 32.0. That will give me, I think, 3rd place. And then, someone speak in the middle and I got lost. So I was like so mad that I got so concentrated in the first race. So I was trying to be careful, and I start to see some, hits, and then I was so lucky. I was so lucky in the hits, because the sea opened for me when the accidents happened. I just was able to go straight to it. And then from the moment that I was able to take control of the race start, I knew exactly where I had to put my foot, in order to get the advantage. And yeah, so from that moment, I was scared, because I was watching the pace from the guys behind, and they were putting the fast lap, and I was saying oh no, Dominic and Roger are coming for me. So I was so scared, I can't deny it. And then I did saw him fighting and fighting. I was trying to keep up the pace with the curse. And then at one moment I did a perfect first sector. I was going for the fastest lap of the race, but the fight in the back was so amazing that I totally lost my braking point looking in the back, and I almost got off the track. And from that moment I say, okay, I'm going to go like a bit slower. I do not want to mess, because I was so eager to win a race. I am so behind in the championship, so I knew that I needed this win.
And what a race to win, because race 1 is a huge haul of points, and even race 2 to finish off in P4, that was a huge haul of points for you this evening. We didn't get much screen time with you this evening in race 2. However, could you walk us through what had happened, because you started in P10 and had to just fight your way through and crawl up until the final, well, right outside the podium position. But could you walk us through your race 2, please?
Yeah, sure. So on race 2, I knew that I have to be careful, especially on the race start. I was just praying to not get hit from the back. So in the first turn was the jungle. It was so crazy. Dominic had to go to the outside, so I had to go to the outside. I almost went off the track. It was nice from that point. So we were getting along. I was like catching. But then on race 2, somebody decided to make a dive bomb from another planet that almost take me out of the track. And I totally lost the guys in the front because I was too concentrated fighting with Raven, who had an amazing pace today. So yeah, the fight was so good. So good. At one moment I say to myself, okay, I cannot catch the guys up front, but at least I'm going to enjoy the fight with Raven. And then he attempted to do a fake dive on turn 1, and then she went to the left, and I saw her losing control and going out at the track. So
was that the one with the blue flag with Sashan?
No, the Sashan one was previously.
That was turn 2.
That was a heart attack, bro. Because he was not clear at all about what he was going to do.
Right.
So at one point he just stayed in the middle of the track. So Raven was going for the inside, but it seems that Sashan was going to the inside. So Raven decided to go to the outside exact at the moment that I decided to go to the inside when I saw Sashan was not. I don't know if it was Sashan. It was a Subaru. That's all that I remember.
Yeah, I believe it was. I believe it was right.
Yeah. So that was a heart attack, and I'm sure it was a bigger one from Raven. But no, the Raven one was on the first lap.
Okay.
Pardon me, in the first turn.
Corner.
And
okay,
that was first corner. It was her fault. That's
Okay. Well, that was a battle. I mean, even I completely forgot about that battle between you two. So you did get a little bit of screen time there. My apologies. Because that fight between you two it did keep us going for quite some time. So again, man, epic drive here this evening, Daniel, and huge haul of points as well. Congratulations to you, sir. And again, looking forward to seeing what you can do for the next few rounds, because the battle is not over. We do have one drop race for the season, and you're not out of contention just yet. And especially with a win this evening and P4, it puts you right back in the mix. So congratulations, bro, and definitely looking forward to seeing you again next week as we head into round 5 at the Sonoma circuit.
Thank you so much. It was an amazing night, as always.
Absolutely. And any final words to the audience? As you've had quite a few fans here this evening, in the drivers, in the comments. My apologies.
Oh well, thank you so much for all of the people that is always supporting me. Watching the race. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you too, brother, for putting on an absolute spectacle of racing here this evening. Again, looking forward to seeing you next week and seeing what can be done. Congratulations, winning race 1 and finishing race 2 off in P4. Driver number 379, Daniel Velez of Noble Racing, the official Moza racing dealer over there in Colombia. One of our great friends and one of our faster drivers here in the JSRA. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you so much. You did amazing as always, bro. Thank you.
Thank you as always. And ladies and gentlemen, that does bring our stream to an end. We have just reached a halfway point in the Caribbean Touring Car Championship. We are now heading into round 5, then we'll take a 1-week break. But we will be heading into round 5 next week, so please stay tuned for the battles, the action ahead. A huge shout outs to our sponsors at Ceramic Care, the official ceramic coating for all things auto related, as well as Emanuelle Boutique, real clothes for real women, and our friends over there in 7 Mile Racing, the drive of the day sponsors who have been taking, or who have offered to present a prize to the most drive of the day votes for the season. Over in 7 Mile Racing, you'll see them tomorrow as they come out in their numbers to race in the LMU Le Mans Ultimate Sprint race that we have as we head into round 2 at Imola. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been your host, Stephen Stewart, and it's been absolutely epic having you. And I'm so grateful that we've come to a conclusion of another week of absolutely epic racing. I hope you aren't too tired of my voice as yet, but that being said, we'll see you again for next week as we head to Sonoma. I've been your host, Stephen Stewart. Have a wonderful evening or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Enjoy and have a great evening.